Hello, we're here today at Yamaha to meet Nick Sanders, who's multi-around the world adventure extreme motorcycle rider. Shortly I'll be trying to get an interview with Nick and see what his latest adventure is. Hello everyone, I'm here with Nick Sanders. Yeah, Nick.
Hello.
Tell us what you're going to be doing soon.
Well, we're doing my latest film has just come out,
yeah.
which is called Nick's World Ride, and it's 78 minutes, and we're showing it here at Wigan Yamaha. And it's very different, very unusual, very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
And I've just come back from Scotland where we had it for the first two screenings.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a whole Yamaha kind
Brilliant.
of tour,
Superb, yeah.
screening my film. Yeah.
Superb. And you've got a book, haven't you, as well? What's this book?
Well, my book, I don't know where it is. I've got loads of books, but they're not for sale now. We're just giving them away.
Okay, right,
yeah.
great.
What have we got? We haven't got anything for sale. No, nothing at all.
It's all freebie, isn't it?
All
Nick?
freebie, yeah.
Great,
Thank you, Wigan Yamaha.
And Taffy Two Wheels.
And Tappy Two Wheels, aye.
Yeah, thank you very much. Awesome, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Brilliant. See you later. Thanks. Bye.
Here we are, right, Rob. Look, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bothering to turn out to see my little film. I really appreciate it. You know, what's the point of making a film if no one watches it, you know? I've met a few faces, and I know Dave here, and Martin over there, who I don't remember actually, but I met him in Cape Town. He did premiere in Cape Town, so I'm not the only one. So there we are, well done you, Martin. Aye, we're all together, aren't we? What I like about bikers, that when you get into biking, you know, as long as you're not a complete knobhead, and most of us are, slightly, but we just get on, don't we? You know, we're all right. It's just a family, and I think that's fantastic. So, you know, now, as you know, I think most of you know me, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Probably really sad. I've been motorbiking and doing adventuring now for 42 years. I kicked off when I was 23. I never had a job. I lived in a council house. There's no family money. No, I'm not a trust fund hippie. And I set off to bicycle around the world when I was 23, and I lived off £1.50 a day. And I slept on the side of the road solidly for 7 months. I had no idea where it was all going in those days. And I came back. Nobody knew I'd gone. Nobody was interested. There was no sponsorship. When I got back, I borrowed a bike. Nobody was interested when I got back. Honestly, I had to, you know, claw my way up a little bit. And then I cycled across the Sahara Desert because I had a winter free. You know, I fit it in to go. I cycled from Manchester to Timbuktu. And then I cycled to the source of the White Nile, which is 4,165 miles, 327 yards. Now I know that, ladies and gentlemen, I had one of those things in my front wheel which went ting, 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 yeah? And you know, I double checked because I had to cycle back, right? Because my dad hadn't got a car, and you can't phone a flipping friend in those days, you know what I mean? So that was that. So I thought, right, what else shall we do? Well, after I cycled there, the Sahara Desert and so forth, I thought, well, I'll go and cycle around the coast of Britain. And it's funny, and I did it once as a training ride, and I used to be a professional cyclist. I mean, I'm small like, and I was reasonable, but not the best. But I turned pro, and when I first cycled around the world when I was 23, I was averaging 100 miles a day, and I met Freddie Laker out there in Hong Kong, Global Skytrain, if you're old enough to remember that. And he said, if you cycle across, you know, from Los Angeles to New York you know, get the record, the Guinness record. I just realised there was one, and I was on it anyway without knowing. And he says, I'll give you a free ticket to get home from New York. So I thought, right. And you come to that place in your life, don't you, where you hang around Waikiki Beach and watch all the beautiful people go by, or you hammer yourself stupid going across America at 200 miles a day. Well, there you go. My dad said to me, he said, you've got two ways in life. You've got the easy way and the hard way. Which way is it going to be for you, son? I said, the hard way, Dad? Well, what a knob, you know. And it's been like that ever since. So then after that, cycling the Sahara Desert around Guy Martin, I stayed at Guy's place 6 months ago now, because he asked me for advice because he was going for my record. And I said, well, look, Guy, you need to do more than ride 30 miles a day to your work. I like that guy. I think he's brilliant. But I said, you're not going to crack it, because when I did it, I was 27, fit as a flea, and I'd already, you know, cycled, you know, round the coast of Britain to prepare to go round it in 22 days. And I was averaging 221 miles a day. And lo and behold, after day 4, on John O'Groats, he got tendinitis and didn't manage it. I heard he said on Radio Ulster a few weeks after that, that Nick Sanders is right hard. No way, guy. I said to Carl Fogarty once, I says, Carl, I'll race you across India. You know what I mean? I knew he wouldn't take it, but I beat him having said that. And I said, what did I say to him? Where was I? I said to Guy, actually, I tell you what, why don't you and I will race the length of the Americas from Tierra del Fuego to Alaska? You know what I mean? Let's do a proper job. He said, oh no, he said, you've done the coursework. Well, you're jolly well right about that, fella. I've done it 8 times up and down there, right? You know, so, and I'll tell you one little thing about that, was I was racing, I had this obsession, because you know, Martin's done a big journey, and I know a number of you have done big journeys, and that first album, you know, it's like getting the second album going, or the third, is only, you need about 6 or 7 albums before you start making some money. It's the same with trips. You know, unless you're at it full time, you know, you've had it, you're just going to spend money all the time. So I had to make it pay, right? So, and I got my sponsors and stuff like that, and I thought, right, I'll ride, I had this obsession to ride, to become the fastest person to motorbike the length of the Americas, from Tierra del Fuego. You know when Universal Pictures comes round, and you see the big map from the bottom to the top? Well, that's it. So I thought, right, I'm off. And I kept failing, and each time it cost me a bob or two. My sponsors kept piling in money, and I kept wasting it. And I kept failing, not quite good enough. The bike wasn't right, I got it wrong. Anyway, so after a while, I started taking clients, and they were paying me, because I still had this obsession. So, and I was on my R1, and it was just the wrong bike. You know, I've ridden around the world on my R1 4 times, and on one of those occasions, it was in 19 days. Spot on bike, absolutely great. But this time the Super Tenere 1200 came out, and what a splendid bike. Well, the best, the most understated bike that's ever been produced, no longer being produced. So I set off with my client all the way from the bottom to the top. And before that, I went to see Robert Dunlop at the Skerries. And I said, Robert, how are you so good? You know, why are you and Joey so good at what you do? You know, you remember the Sky Cycling team and Dave Brere's marginal gains, you know, where you look at all that, every single detail, so I'll give it a go. And Robert said, well, you can go around corners like that, and you can go on hills like that, but it's like that which we're looking at, which is going out at night with Joey, with your lights on, you know, when it's been raining, and you see the depressions, the little puddles, and it's this topographical way of looking at your road, this 3D way, you know, because if your tyres are not touching the ground, you're not going as fast as you could. You don't want to be in the air. And that's what he taught me. Look at the details. So I went up and down the Americas 2 more times, checking it out, going to find out where the customs posts were, where was winter opening times and winter closing times, and where there was construction. I did a proper job, proper survey. So I'm setting off for my clients. We got all the way up to Alaska. They went home. I'm on the Super 10. Everything's great. I turn around, and the record used to be 30 days in the Guinness Book of Records. Well, I got that, but that was an out. You know, anyone could do that. That was a holiday. So what happened was the Iron Butt Association record was the one to go for. And a Canadian Air Force pilot called Dick Fish did it in 21 days, 4 hours. And I phoned him up and says, can I have your permission to go for the record, Dick, as a matter of courtesy? And he said, yep, go for it. And I did. And I set off, and I was absolutely race fit. And, you know, I treated myself like an athlete. And I went down, and I was on 19 days going down through Alaska and going down through North America into Mexico, still on 19 days, into Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, you know, Panama, and then into into Bogota in Colombia, and then down through Ecuador and Peru and Bolivia, into the Atacama in Chile. And I'm slipping to 21 days dead, but I'm 4 hours ahead of the fastest ride ever on that particular route. And as I came to 300 kilometers before the end at Tierra del Fuego, right, a strap came off me, my luggage, on my Super 10 into my cush drive for my back wheel. So I had to stop, right? And I got my spanners out, and I'm crap with spanner in, but I can take a wheel out, all right. Got the wheel out on its main stand. It's cold, it's a Patagonian ice cap. It's summer in the north, winter in the south, got it? Yeah, but I got the wheel out, patted back the cush drive back into the thing, the wheel, and then I set off. I lost an hour. I got to the San Sebastian border post on Tierra Fuego, just crossed the Magellan Strait, and I missed them by 5 minutes. They closed, winter closing time. They didn't open until the following morning, so by the following morning, instead of being 4 hours ahead, I was 4 hours behind with 300 kilometres to go. Buggered, that was it. you know, I went there and I got there. I'm the second fastest person to ride the length of the Americas after 16 years of obsession. What do you do with that? Huh? So, I just started going out with this new woman who's now my wife, right? And I said, oi, what do you reckon I should do? Because I've no idea. She said, you'll have to ride back. I said, what? So, she says, yeah, nobody likes a loser. How can you say that? Yamaha don't want anyone who comes second best. So I said, right, yeah, what charmer? So I said, so I phoned up my mate, Moto Pablo, in Ushuaia, the southernmost tip of South America, and I said, so get out of bed, mate, and fettle me bike, put new tyres on, and put studs in the tyres, because an inch of ice had fallen overnight on the Patagonian ice cap. So there we are, so we did. And I set off 4 hours later with no sleep, and I went back up through Patagonia, and Chile, and Peru, and Ecuador, and Colombia, and Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and all the rest of it. And I did 21 days, 8 hours going down, and 24 days, 6 hours going back, so 46 days dead to go there and back. I created my own double transit record, so there you go. And it's thanks to Rob and all his gang, you know, that they bothered to open the shop and give you all this for free, so good on them. I mean, you support them with bike sales, don't you? And they're looking after you as well. So I'm trying to do the same. It's a very unusual film. It's nothing like The Long Way Round. It's very thought-provoking. If I said to you there's a juxtaposition of realities, or let's say a contrast of realities, yeah, let me put it to you this way. When you get on a bike, you feel different. I know we do, because we're bikers. You don't feel like a cowboy, that's a bit of a cliche, but you get on your bike and you feel like you want to go somewhere special. We understand travel in a way that car drivers just don't. And you feel different, you know, we're into geography and we're into smells and stuff like that. And I've tried to examine what it is that bikers like in different parts of the world. And there's this juxtaposition of reality is like kind of, what is real? You know, when you're on your bike, that's a sense of reality, okay? When you're back at home with your wife watching the telly, watching Coronation Street, that's your other reality, you know? So this is something different. So we'll give it a go and see what you think. Well, we've done 2 performances so far, and it's gone really well. So you know, never underestimate the intelligence of your audience. That's what I say. A lot of people say the opposite, but I don't agree. So anyway, here we go. It's 45 minutes for the first half. Have a quick break, quick pee break, and then we'll do the second half. All right. Then we'll do a Q&A. All right. Yeah. So I got a canal boat, and I took it to the Black Sea. From here, from the Black Country. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, across the channel, yeah. Because it was the Black Country to the Black Sea expedition, so it all begins with B. Because, you know, you need alliteration, right? Now, my dad, when I cycled back from Kathmandu once, right, I'd been away for 3 months, my dad didn't even know. He was still in the pub. Yeah, and he always said to me, son, why don't you get a proper job? He never got me, my dad, until the very end. And, you know, he always wanted me to work, because he was from Mancoats as well, you know, news agent. He used to sell wood bikes to 5-year-olds and bangers, you know what I mean? Those are the days. And he would say, and I said, Dad, I've just been to Kathmandu. He says, Kathmandu? He said, what are you doing there? Eat your chips, they're going cold, you can tell your mother all about it later. And that was the end of the conversation. That was it, in our house. So I thought, right, I'll do something else. Dad, this is me, I'll do something else, what do you think about that? So I sailed these boats to the Black Sea. But I got Wolverhampton and Dudley breweries to give me money, and they brewed Banksy's beer, so it's the Banksy beer of the Black Sea expedition. Ding, ding, you know. And that's how it works, in some ways, you know. Bingley Building Society. Bingley. You'd be right. Oh, hi, you, Dave, you're thinking. Yeah. Yeah. So I've still got those boats. So what we're going to do next year, we're going to, once I come back, I'm cycling around the world in August until February on the new Wabash electric bicycle. So that's going to be stopped by Rob. And I know you hate cyclists, because I do. You know, they're lycra wearing knobheads, a lot of them. They really are, aren't they? They're just right there, you know, I'm great. I used to be one. But I'm cycling around the world, leaving on the 10th of August. So why didn't you get onto the Instagram thingy? You know, it's at Nick Sanders Official. I had another 3 joined yesterday. It'll take forever. But we do very interesting films. So that will be there, at Nick Sanders Official. We'll leave the 10th of August. I'm electric bicycle around the world for 7 months. And then when I come back, we're going to sail my boats from Manchester to London on a big canal boat journey with the electric bicycle, you know, going either side. And we're going to invite all you lovely people to come and meet us at a little cafe on the canal side. We'll send out a Facebook message, say, right, we'll be here in 2 days' time, come and have a free cup of tea, that kind of thing. So I'll let you know anyway.
That's in Scandinavia on a lucky bike.
I just come back from, I just cycled from Nordkap, Dave, down to Tarifa, the full length of Europe, just to do a practice run.
That was the Yamaha one.
It was the Yamaha March, that's right, yeah. So, yeah, there we are.
Did you sing that canal?
Yeah, I was shit at it. I did. I sank it at Bratislava. Because, well, you know, you get promoted to your incompetence if you're an employer and you want to get rid of someone. You promote to the point where they can't do the job, then you sack them. Well, that's what I did to myself. So I got as far as Bratislava in the Danube, and I got into a force 8 gale on the river, and my bloody butty, because I had a motorboat and a butty, yeah, thing. And it sank, it went down to 80 metres, I nearly lost my crew. Silly buggers, they shouldn't have been wearing duffel coats. I mean, I said, take your fucking duffel coat off, it's ridiculous. I mean, you know, you could drown. Yeah, but it's cold. And so anyway, we picked it up 4 days later. I had to hire a deep sea boat, and they pulled it out from 18 metres. We brushed it down, ironed out my pound notes and carried on. Yeah, so that was it really.
Did it cross the channel all right though?
Yeah, well, you know, we did. Alright to me. I mean, obviously there's a lot of really big boats, you know, and it's the bow wave. You turn into the bow wave, right? And you've got to believe your physics. Because as long as the water can't get into the boat, it goes right under like that, and then pops out like that. And it's fine, but it didn't leak. It was alright. Yeah, I've got them now. I said, I'm going to pick my wife up. She's on the boats in Manchester at the moment, so I'm going to pick her up and take her home tonight. So that's it, she's looking after the dogs.
Take some fine photos. I have to know that your sister-in-law and her husband very well.
Yeah, no.
Did you learn
No,
from them? Did they learn
they've
from
not
you?
told me anything.
No.
No. But within my family, Simon and Lisa Thomas, do you know them? Anybody know them? Simon, who knows them? You do. Two. Well, they've both ridden around the world, so, they've ridden around the world, I've ridden around the world, and so has my wife. So the 4 of us have ridden around the world. So we're like the Dunlop family around the world, whatever, aren't we, really? Yeah.
In terms of like planning, how far in advance do you plan? Like when you ride and you think, oh, I've got to stop here, I'm going to sleep here.
Well, you don't need much planning. You know, people who say you've got to do a lot of planning and you've got to take a lot of stuff with you, or more like people who say you can't do things are usually the people who haven't done it. Okay, you've got to be careful about all that. You know, people overcomplicate their things. They plan too much, they overcomplicate, they take too much. By the time they've done all that, they don't go. You know, the simplest thing, keep it simple. Go on a very simple bike, take as little as you possibly can, and don't plan too much and go. You'll get there. It really is. People like to overcomplicate things because they make themselves as heroes. You know, it's not like that. Just riding a motorbike, a bit further like. That's what Joey Dunlop said about racing. Just ride a bit fast like.
These characters that you met along the way, were they pre-planned?
No, I bumped into the guy from Saudi Arabia who was very eloquent, he was great. He was linked up when I was in Dubai, because they know it.
Yeah.
They pass me on to people. Very difficult finding interesting people because, interesting person is there, and in between there's not a lot. They don't speak English, so it's, and I think on a bicycle it's difficult because to get from A to B is going to take all day, and you don't meet anybody during the day, so it's very much, on yourself to make the whole thing work. But I hope with the bicycle thing we'll have a few more objectives. Maybe we'll look at some great, big, giant, renewable situations, electric bicycle, and see if we can make it really
So are you
interesting.
getting your power heat taken a backup truck?
With the isolation.
Isolation?
Yeah, in the evening.
Oh, well,
Because I always find when you're riding, the day when you're riding it's good, but
yeah.
the evenings when you're on your own it's...
No, I'm happy, after 40 odd years,
Yeah.
well, I don't enjoy Yamaha, you have to put up with yourself. I try and dilute it sometimes. No, you've got to get up, you're so busy to be honest, and then you're so tired. You're living a very strange life. You know, you're up at 7, you're out all the day, you film, you come back, you're editing while it's fresh, and then you crash out at 10 or 11, that's it, gone, and do the same again the next day. It's not a holiday, you know. Although I think everybody thinks I am. My first wife thought it was. You know, we were only married 4 years, and we had 3 children, and I went round the world 4 times. I'll go around, get a present, and piss off again. It cost me a house. Well, 2, actually. Yeah. Oh, it was worth it.
What do you do about your accommodation then? Do you sort of pre-plan it and
No.
make it all?
You know, before it's harder because you go into Russia, you couldn't speak Cyrillic Russian language. You know, no one speaks English, and you're struggling. But now it's look, you've got Booking.com. It's in English. You plug it into GPS. It takes you there. You don't have to speak to
So
anybody.
would you plan how many miles you were going to do? You'd have a destination?
It depends where you are. If you're in the empty quarter where there's 400, 500 miles of nothingness, then you've just got to make sure you start early and get that job done. But generally speaking, there's always hotels. I'm trying to say to you that it's a lot easier than it looks.
So what was it like years ago?
Well, you know, you can't make a phone call home. There's no mobile phone. There's no video cameras. It's all Bolex or 8mm film. If you wanted a letter, you go to a poste restante, which is a little dusty box in a, say, Kathmandu post office, and your letter will be waiting for you. It's been there a month. And when you get it from your dad, because he was the only person who wrote to me, it says, "Dear son, life is very boring and nothing's happened." Yeah? And it really was the most boring letter that I've ever read, right? But I read it 100 times, and I could smell it, you know, I could smell my dad. But, you know, but now it's an email, you don't bother reading it. You know,
Did you put a price on how much you were going to pay for your digs, or did you just take that?
When I first started around the world, I slept out every night for the 7 months. I only had a £700 budget for the lot, and that's how much it cost me in 1981. So, I mean, I had no money. I was in a council house, and you don't do these things. I just set off on a borrowed bike and went, and that was it. To the consternation of my mum and dad, you know, I mean, they must have been terrified.
Tent and all that?
Yeah, it was actually sleeping bag, you know, it was a rough and ready journey, and I built it up from there. But I still stay in cheap hotels now. I stayed in one last night for £36. It was smashing. Yeah, no, great. It just didn't have an ensuite, so it's a lot cheaper. Booking.com, you know, that was it. Yeah, it's very easy. So you should all go out on your bikes and have a good time. Yeah. Really, you should. Come to Mac Festival. Come to that. Have a little look on. You're at the nicksanders.com or macfestival.co.uk, and you'll see we've got the circus tomorrow. Like I said, we've got Pink Floyd turning up. Well, Pink Floyd, and they're very good. We've got Coda, we've got Led Zeppelin, and we've got 11 bands all together. We've got the Magician coming along, and the Magician who came last year, he was brilliant. What he did, he put a penny in his hand like that, and I watched it, and a penny like that, and he did that, and he just went like that, right? And I opened my hand, I swear, and the penny was spent. Couldn't think it. It was astonishing. And it wasn't just something that he'd learned. He was like a gypsy community traveller kind of magicians are different people. Rob, come here, Rob. Come here. Good to thank Rob. I need to do a little Instagram thing.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate.
No. Listen, we're going to have a little chat. Because we're going to do a little Instagram thing, you and me, right?
Yeah.
Here we go, we're doing it now, right? And we're going to do it. So what did you think of that?
Very good, yeah. But a lot different to the last one we saw.
Yeah.
I still can't fathom how you draw the enthusiasm from to be
Really?
able to
To
keep going. Keep going with the strength you've got, and it's just crazy.
But you enjoyed it though?
I did, very much.
Great.
I hope everybody else enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
It was a lot more poignant than I was expecting.
It's a good word, poignant. I like that. Well done, you, Rob. Poignant. Right, listen. What we're going to do, we're going to ask you to give us a round of applause, okay? So I'm going to turn it around, and when I'm safe now, go. Thank you. Right, listen, you know what's what? I've got the Russian book. I'm going to go now, is that right? But thank you very much, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.